Yeah. Raising the Tobagos, we growing like fresh tomatoes. Them boys on fire, too fuego, we pass it.
What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to Soul Vice. Back once again with you guys with another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2. I'm going to give you a deep dive review on these, let you know exactly what I think about them, kind of go over all the details. But I'm also going to give you a 4K on-feet look at these as well, so you guys can get a nice up-close personal look at these, just to kind of see if you like them for yourself. Now, real quick before we go too far, I just want to say I hope all you guys are safe out there, making sure you're taking all the necessary precautions to keep yourself safe, keep your loved ones safe. Obviously, this virus is going to be affecting some people more than others, so make sure you guys stay home, watch a lot of YouTube, just kind of stay at home just to make sure you're not spreading this anywhere else. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are going through some hard times. I just got furloughed at my job, so I'm without work right now. And so one thing I kind of want to touch upon, obviously with what we're all into with sneakers, you've always got kind of that chase that you're constantly going after, gotta cop the next sneaker. Now, not everybody's going to be affected the same way, but I know for myself, I'm selling these. Like pretty much as soon as I got the confirmation that I got the order, I went ahead and sold them. I'd like to keep these. I'm going to let you guys know I actually really do like this sneaker, but right now, copying sneakers is kind of like the last thing on my mind, at least adding to the collection anyway. I'm going to try and keep copying for you guys. That way I can review as many shoes as I can while I'm off. I've got a lot of time to be shooting and editing and uploading videos, so I'm going to try and keep the content coming, but just be smart out there, guys. Don't put yourself in a hole just over these shoes. Obviously, we love them. That's why we're here. But I just want to make sure that I kind of put that message out there. There's a lot more that's going on right now that's more important than shoes. But while we're here, let's have a good time. That way we've got a little bit of lighthearted fun amongst all the craziness that's going on. All right, let's go ahead and get into the shoe. All right, so Kanye's back yet again with another 350 V2. This colorway, I do think, is one of the more original colorways that we've seen. We all know that they've dropped like the same 350 V2 like 7 times, and they just pretty much call it something different by tweaking it a little bit here or there. A lot of beige, a lot of white, a lot of cream, a lot of that kind of stuff. But here and there, they are dropping in some really nice colorways, I think. Something that just kind of keeps the 350 V2 fresh, and something that we kind of want to see more of still. So I don't know if you guys remember, but I dropped a video a little bit ago, kind of like a conspiracy theory, if you want to call it that, about the 350 V2. We were always waiting for a 350 V3 to be coming out, and that kind of turned into the 380. But if you remember in that video, if you saw it, I'm going to go ahead and link to it up here so you can kind of see my original thoughts on it. But I was kind of thinking we already saw the 350 V3. And what I meant by that is obviously when the 350 V2 came out, it had its own specific signature styling keys, right? So you had like those swoopy lines on the belugas, on the zebras, on the blue tints, all those. We kind of got used to those swoopy lines, things like that, or the Supply 350 lettering. You also had the stitch down the front. You had the back tab on most of them. And the prime knit itself is different too. So the prime knit has its own kind of knit pattern that's in the prime knit. So all the way from the belugas up until I want to say the sesames, I believe that was the last pair to have that same prime knit pattern as far as kind of like the shapes and kind of the way that the prime knit runs. Those all had the same prime knit pattern. So when we saw the original 350 V2 statics, that's where we saw the prime knit pattern change, and it's been the same since then, of course, other than restocks. But the statics, we had the cloud white, the triple black pair, the clays, like all of those, everything we've seen since the statics have had this new prime knit pattern. And what's interesting about this is there was a 350 V3 kind of mock-up, or I want to say like a sample that was kind of circulating online. It was never anything really official. But I find it really interesting that those that were kind of like popping up, they actually had this pattern right here on the inside of this new prime knit pattern. It was really, really similar. So I kind of feel like they were starting a V3, and then I don't know if they scrapped it or they just decided, hey, let's just keep the 350 V2 and we'll just kind of like keep iterating on it. And then we'll make the 380, which is similar to the 350, but it's really, really different in a lot of ways. I don't really see it as a continuation from the 350. I kind of do see it as its own sneaker. So that was supposed to be the 350 V3. but last minute they called it the 380. Anyway, that's just kind of like my 2 cents on that. I'm going to go over some other differences with these because those signature things that we saw on the 350 V2 since the beginning, they keep changing them or deleting them. And I think it's really kind of strange that these have kind of like over time morphed into like a very different sneaker in my opinion. All right, so with the conspiracy theories out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the specifics of the Desert Sage 350 V2. All right, so the prime knit upper is done in this nice Desert Sage color. It's almost like a mint green, but a little bit more earthy than that. I really, really like this a lot. This is gonna go with a lot of outfits, I think, very, very nicely. And then of course you do have these pops of this kind of like tangerine orange, which gives it a really, really nice contrast. Now, something kind of interesting that I noticed about the upper on these is for the last few 350 V2s that I've seen, this stripe down the side here has been kind of made out of like a translucent plastic, but it looks like they've just started making it out of prime knit now. It's still very apparent, obviously, because I've done it in a different color. Also, another thing about it is it's reflective, which is pretty cool. And I do think it's interesting that they've done this stripe in the reflective material as well, just because before what we were seeing was we'd get one pair of reflective 350s and then a pair of non-reflective. They'd put like reflective in the shoelaces or something like that. But with that reflective pair, the whole prime knit upper, they had kind of woven into it some reflective material. Now, I thought that was smart when they were doing that because one of the main reasons why everybody liked 350s from the beginning was that they were exclusive. They didn't make a lot of pairs of them, so they kind of had that exclusive, kind of rare kind of element to them that made people like them more. Obviously, part of the reason why people like shoes a lot of times is how limited they are, right? You kind of have that, I've got something that not a lot of other people have. Some people call that hype. I think that's a little bit different than hype. Hype to me is liking something because everybody else likes it. I'm all for liking things because they're limited, or at least that being something that kind of adds to why you like it. So I thought that was kind of smart that they did that. They had the limited reflective pair, and then they had the mass-produced GR regular 350s that they were doing. But now they've decided just to make them all with the reflective stripe. At least that's what it looks like they're going to do. Obviously, things could change. These 350s are kind of changing every other release, it seems like. Now, on the back of these, you do not have a pull tab. So recently, they've decided to just go without the pull tab on most 350s. I'm not too sure why. Every once in a while, they'll still randomly drop a pair with a pull tab. Like that taillight pair had a pull tab, and I kind of think that it actually kind of like tied into the colorway with that orange stripe that was on the back. But for most of the pairs, they're going without. I personally like them to have a pull tab, but they don't look bad without it. I just kind of think they look a little bit more complete with one. So the rope laces on these, there's nothing crazy about them, nothing special. They decided to color match these with the upper. So the rope laces are in the Desert Sage. And I think that was the right decision. I think if they went with contrasting laces on here, it might have been a little bit too much. Just because you do have the contrast on the tangerine liner, and then the outsole as well is contrasting. So I think that would have just been a little bit too much. I'm glad that they went with a color match rope lace here. Now, another one of those signature elements from the 350 V2 when it started was the cross stitching that you had on the seam on the middle of the shoe, and they've done without that. So I want to say there have been like maybe one or two other pairs of the 350 V2s now that they've done without the cross stitching. And I don't know if I really like that. I just thought that the cross stitching was kind of a really unique thing that you didn't see on any other shoe, just to have that straight down the middle. But now you have this really clean line just kind of like down the middle where the seam is. It doesn't look bad like this. It's just kind of weird to me that something that was such a signature of the 350 V2 they've deleted now. This is more in line with the way that they've got the 380s. So again, these are just small changes that they're making to the 350 V2 over time, just kind of making it a different sneaker with every drop that comes out. So for the midsole on these, they went with a semi-translucent midsole like we've seen on most 350 V2s. And they've color matched this as well to the upper, which I like. There's just a lot of color on this shoe, which I'm a big fan of. All right, so moving to the bottom of the shoe, you've got this light gum outsole, which I like a lot. I'm always a fan of a gum outsole anyway, so I really like it when they have this kind of creamy light gum outsole, especially when it contrasts with the midsole like they've got it here. It's just a really nice way to show some contrast with the shoe that's not overdone. So yeah, I really like the outsole on these a lot. When these aren't on your feet, you can see that there's a lot of that tangerine orange. When they're on, all that you're going to see is kind of like that ankle collar, but when you take them off, there's a ton of orange in here. So even
Outsole
is done in that same tangerine orange. The lettering is also in tangerine orange, is just barely darker. And it's glossy. In a lot of lighting, you really can't even see the lettering. Like when I first pulled them out of the box, I thought that there was no lettering on the inside, but it's there. It's just in a very, very close to the same color as the insole. Now, as far as sizing goes on these, I have no idea what the hell they're doing over there at Yeezy. I thought they finally got their sizing straight. I had the triple black pair of 350 V2s, and I also reviewed the clay pair. And both of those I went true to size and they fit perfectly. But I had the zebras before and those were like a half size, almost a whole size too small. So I was thinking they finally fixed their sizing. But these are pretty much the same size as my zebras were. I'd probably go a half size down on these if you can. Now, one thing that is different about these when you compare these to like the older versions of the 350 V2s is that 4-foot cage that's there to keep the form of the prime knit. That is softer and a little bit more flexible than the cage that they were originally putting in the shoes. So even though it's a little bit snug, it's still not quite as uncomfortable as a small pair of 350 V2s used to be. And of course you can always pull the insole out if you don't have the option to go a half size up. Like me, I'm a size 12 and 12 and a halves are like stupid rare in Yeezy 350s. So they're always like $100 more on the resale market. So if you miss a drop, which every time I've ever tried to get a 12 and a half, I always take the L. So I always just play it safe and get a 12. So if you're like me, you can pull the insole out, get a little bit more room there, and they're not terrible. But it's just weird to me that they can't seem to get their sizing right on these. It's always super inconsistent. You think if you're a multi-billion-dollar company, you'd figure out sizing. But hey, that's just me. So if we weren't in the middle of a global pandemic, I would definitely be adding these to the collection. I really like this colorway. It's unique. It's something we haven't seen from Yeezy, which we can't always expect that. It's wearable. I've gone ahead and matched these with 3 different pairs of pants during the on foot here, so you can kind of see as long as you're wearing something on the neutral side, these are going to match perfectly. They're just super, super sick. I would definitely be keeping these. So if you didn't lose your job or you've got a stockpile of cash and you're thinking about copping these, I wouldn't think any longer. I'd just go ahead and grab them. The prices right now aren't too unreasonable. I want to say these are probably going for like 50, 60 over retail, so not that bad. I definitely cop these if you're thinking about it. So as of right now, as I'm recording this video, I've got 495 subscribers. That means I've got 5 spots left open for somebody to win this pair of Air Jordan 5 Michigans. I'm excited to finally be sending these out. It looks like they're going to be going out in the next couple of days. Only 5 subscribers left. I'm going to be getting those in no time. So if you want to win these, make sure to either click the link up here in the corner of the video or down in the description. It's going to go over all the rules on how to win entries. You can get up to 3 entries. So definitely check that out if you want to win these. I only wore them once just for the review, the on-feet portion. I want these to go to one of my first 500 subscribers. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. This channel has been a lot of fun to build so far, and I'm only getting started. All right, guys, I really hope you like the information that I gave you, as well as that on-feet footage. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're notified when I post new videos, and hit that thumbs up if you like the video, as well as that 4K on-feet coverage that I'm going to be giving you on this video and every single video moving forward. All right, guys, seriously, stay safe out there, stay inside, hug your loved ones, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.